The Denver Nuggets reloaded around Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray after their heartbreaking 7-game series loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference semifinals. Despite playing the Thunder evenly for much of the series, Denver lacked enough offensive firepower and defensive versatility beyond their stars to close things out. This reality forced interim GM Ben Tenzer to be aggressive in free agency and trades, and the Nuggets responded by adding Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, and reuniting with Bruce Brown. Each of these additions addresses critical needs exposed in the Thunder series: shooting consistency, size, and rebounding in the front court, plus defensive toughness with lineup flexibility. Denver is banking on this trio to blend seamlessly with their established core and restore their status as a legitimate title favorite, just like in 2023 when they captured the franchise's first championship. The return of Bruce Brown cannot be overstated. After leaving Denver for a bigger contract with the Indiana Pacers in 2023, Brown's absence was deeply felt. He was the connective tissue of the 2023 championship roster, providing relentless perimeter defense, a secondary ball handler role, and underrated shot making. Without him, Denver often looked too dependent on Jamal Murray's health and ball handling, leaving them vulnerable in stretches when Murray was cold or sidelined. Now, with Brown back in the fold, the Nuggets regain a trusted playoff performer who knows both the system and Jokic's tendencies. His ability to guard multiple positions, slash to the rim, and push in transition is tailor-made for Denver's system. The Nuggets believe that his return alone is worth several wins in the regular season and could make the difference in a close playoff series. Cam Johnson represents the Nuggets' push for more reliable perimeter shooting. In the Thunder series, Denver often struggled to punish OKC for packing the paint against Jokic, as inconsistent shooting from role players allowed the Thunder to swarm the MVP center. Johnson, a career 39% three-point shooter, is not only accurate, but also comfortable moving off screens and spacing from deep. He adds an element of floor gravity that forces defenses to stay honest, which directly benefits Jokic's passing lanes and Murray's drive and kick opportunities. Johnson's shooting has been steady across playoff and regular season contexts, making him a dependable option. Furthermore, his length at 6'8" allows him to play both forward spots, giving Denver versatility in lineups with either Jokic or Valanciunas. Speaking of whom, adding Jonas Valanciunas gives Denver something they've lacked in recent years: a true physically imposing backup center. While Zeke Naji and DeAndre Jordan provided spot minutes behind Jokic in the past, neither offered consistent rim protection, rebounding, or offensive creation. Valanciunas solves all three of those issues. He remains one of the league's best rebounders, averaging 7.7 boards per game last season between Sacramento and Washington, and he can punish opposing bench units in the post. This ensures that when Jokic rests, Denver doesn't collapse in the paint or lose control of the glass. Valanciunas also stretches the floor with his mid-range touch and occasional three-point shot, meaning he can even share the court with Jokic in rare double-big lineups. In a playoff context, his presence is huge. Denver now has a way to withstand minutes when their MVP sits, which has historically been their Achilles heel. The Nuggets' 1-2 punch of Jokic and Murray remains the foundation, but what differentiates this year's roster from last is the balance around them. In 2025, Denver's supporting cast too often felt one-dimensional. Porter could score but struggled defensively, Aaron Gordon was excellent on defense but inconsistent as a scorer, and the bench was streaky. With Johnson, Brown, and Valanciunas, Denver has insulated themselves with players who excel in multiple areas. Johnson brings shooting and size, Brown brings defense and playmaking, and Valanciunas provides rebounding and toughness. That well-rounded depth ensures the Nuggets are less reliant on Jokic's heroics every possession. Instead, they can stagger stars with versatile role players who keep the system flowing. A major theme of this offseason was Denver's response to the growing threats in the Western Conference. Denver recognized they could no longer afford to simply rely on their chemistry and Jokic's brilliance. They had to keep pace with younger, deeper rosters. Cam Johnson allows them to combat OKC's wings and forwards like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. Bruce Brown matches up well with Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Valanciunas is an answer to Minnesota's physical bigs. These moves weren't just about making Denver better in general, they were designed with specific playoff matchups in mind, the kind of foresight championship teams need to sustain success. The Nuggets' 2023 championship showed how devastating their offense can be when all the pieces click. That year, Denver was top 5 in offensive rating, fueled by the Jokic-Murray two-man game and a spread floor with cutters and shooters. Last season, however, Denver fell outside the top 5 offensively, largely due to inconsistent shooting and a lack of secondary creation. Johnson's catch-and-shoot ability, Brown's rim pressure, and Valanciunas' inside presence could restore that balance. In fact, Denver could return to their 2023 efficiency levels or even exceed them because these additions provide a counterpunch when defenses load up on Jokic. It's not hard to imagine a lineup where Murray orchestrates with Johnson on the wing, Brown slashing, and Jokic anchoring. A nightmare for defenses. Defensively, Denver made notable strides during their championship season but regressed against the Thunder. The problem wasn't effort, it was depth. When Gordon took on the burden of guarding elite scorers, Denver lacked enough switchable physical defenders around him. Bruce Brown solves that immediately, while Cam Johnson's length provides another layer of resistance. Valanciunas, while not the most mobile defender, adds bulk and rim protection that prevents easy layups and second chance points. This balance between perimeter versatility and interior toughness gives David Adelman far more options for matchups. Against OKC last spring, Denver struggled to stop dribble penetration when Gordon was pulled away from the rim. Now they can deploy Brown or Johnson alongside him, ensuring the defensive structure doesn't crumble. The Nuggets' core identity has always been built around Jokic's unique skill set, but one lesson from last year is that even the best player in the world needs complementary pieces that maximize his gifts. Jokic is at his best when surrounded by shooters, cutters, and defenders who keep the system fluid. Johnson spaces, Brown cuts and defends, Valanciunas bangs inside. All three perfectly complement Jokic. It's not about bringing in stars who need the ball, but about adding role players who accentuate his game. Denver's front office clearly understands that their championship window depends on tailoring their roster to maximize Jokic's prime years, and this offseason was one of their sharpest moves yet in that pursuit. One underrated benefit of these acquisitions is how they alleviate pressure on Jamal Murray. During the Thunder series, Murray had to create endlessly in the half court, often against elite defenders like Lou Dort. With Brown back, Murray now has another ball handler to share initiation duties, while Johnson provides reliable outlets to punch over helping. This means Murray can pick his spots more effectively, conserving his energy for clutch moments. And we've seen how devastating Murray can be in the playoffs when fresh. His 2023 finals run included multiple 30-point games alongside Jokic. Denver's new balance increases the likelihood that Murray stays healthy, efficient, and deadly late in games. When you step back and look at the Nuggets' offseason as a whole, it's clear that Denver has done far more than simply patch up weaknesses. They've rebuilt their rotation into a deeper, more versatile, and more playoff-ready machine. Adding Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, and bringing Bruce Brown back into the mix gives them shooting, size, and defensive grit that directly addresses what went wrong in their 7-game collapse against Oklahoma City. This isn't just about stacking talent, it's about building a roster that maximizes Nikola Jokic's brilliance, eases Jamal Murray's offensive burden, and ensures that when the postseason grind ramps up, Denver won't be worn down by a lack of depth. With a roster that looks even sharper than their 2023 championship squad, the Nuggets are sending a clear message to the rest of the NBA. They're not done yet. These upgrades aren't just impressive, they're crazy good, and they might just be the exact moves that bring another banner to Ball Arena.